A little backstory is needed, so please stick with me. Growing up, I, F27, had a childhood friend Angie, F27, who was as close as a real sister. We spent entire weekends at each other's place, celebrated family events etc. from 6 years/0 till 18 years/0. Elle even lived at her place in 2nd grade while my parents went to a nasty divorce. I learned to speak some Russian, as she is Russian, and she learned to speak some Spanish. Needless to say, her older brother and little sister were like a family to me. During our teenage years she had her 2 male best friends, one whom she started dating, and another one, Nico, now 29, who was Russian as well, whom I started dating at 17. Growing up I had issues with a heart condition. I won't bore you with the details, but I had to take a lot of meds, but got healthier starting from 16. One didn't have to take them daily but only when my heart rate became irregular, but then immediately, as it would become extremely painful, my heart would cramp, I would start to hyperventilate. All my friends knew this, Nico included, and that I would black out if my meds got taken with alcohol. I didn't smoke much or drink much growing up as a result, since I was worried about my health and only did drink at home or in a safe setting. Legal drinking age is 16 here and I only drank wine or beer if at all. I had my first time with Nico at 17, and when my parents stayed at a retreat 2 weeks later he come over to have a date night. I did drink 1 glass of wine, but starting having health issues later resulting in me taking my meds and being unconscious. I was a bit sore the next morning but didn't think much about it. 2 weeks later I'm informing Nico that I'm late on my period and he starts to panic, confessing he had sex with me while I was unconscious. We had it before, so he didn't think much about it. Apparently he didn't have a condom, but since I was on the pill he figured it was alright, and he also didn't come in me, but in a tissue. I felt violated and disgusted by myself. I didn't know how to describe this and only told Angie about it. I was an utter mess for a few years, and wasn't able to have sex again until 2 years later. I didn't remember any of it, but was too ashamed to go to my mom or anybody else. I didn't think of it as rope back then. I was too young to really understand what and how I was violated, and Angie told me it's alright, I should break up if I feel bad about it, but we were in a relationship and did have sex before. I broke up with him the following day, and apparently he cried about his broken heart to her. As Nico and Angie were close and hanging out together a lot, they started dating a few months afterwards and I had to see him every time when visiting her. I told her I'm not able to see him, but she didn't understand where I'm coming from. The contact stopped and we haven't texted or seen each other in years. I still followed her and her family and saw that her brother is expecting his first child. As I was extremely close with her family, I just commented on the Insta post expressing my gratitude when he reached out to me. I missed his wedding, but he wanted to ask if I would be interested in joining the baby shower as it's been years and we've been extremely close before. He told me I was like a third little sister. I just asked if Nico will be attending as well, as Angie and him have been dating for 9 years now, and he said yes. I didn't elaborate much but just expressed that I'll send a small present if he can give me his current address but won't be attending. He kept on pestering me what exactly happened all those years ago and why I'm not in their lives anymore. Angie told her family I'm not able to see her with an ex of mine, but her brother thought there's more behind it. This is when I think I could be the asshole. I told him the truth about what happened back then. And while I didn't know it at 17, I know now that this was rope and I named it as such. I didn't receive any message back from him, but a few days later Angie reached out to me, furious. Nico had planned to propose during the baby shower, but Angie's brother is against it now, having learnt why I stopped the contact. She loves Nico and will stay with him, but by doing so, her brother said she is no longer a part of his life, as he doesn't want his little baby girl in the same family as a rapist. Since then I've been getting messages from old high school acquaintances, telling me I should have ignored it, and not told anybody. Since I didn't speak up back then I lost the right to do so now, and I'm a horrible person for ruining somebody's life over some stuff he did 10 years ago when he himself was a child as well. Am I truly the asshole for speaking up? Comments where Op has replied. Oop responds to multiple comments about how things are wrong, and she could speak up. Oop, I understand now how wrong it has all been, and that it's rope. But we grew up in a small town with approximately 5k people, and I honestly don't know which way it would have gone if I would have spoken up. He was 19 back then, 2 years older, and everybody is in everybody's business. It would have made sound back then, like it does now. They all still live there, and it has made its rounds. That's why so many of our old classmates are reaching out. Most of who still live there have left me furious messages. They have known Nico for all their life, and are standing by him. I moved out when I was 20, my mom shortly after, and didn't stay in touch with most. It still breaks my heart to get such a furious response from people who are my whole childhood. And thank you for all your best wishes, I genuinely appreciate it. Oop did not ruin Nico's life. He did this himself. Oop, I understand that what happened is on him. The backlash I am getting is because he apparently is not that person anymore, and something he did as a teenager, according to Angie, should not ruin his life and is in no way related to the daughter her brother will have. I don't know if he will ever act out or do something, but it doesn't invalidate what happened to me, so thank you for confirming this. I just can't stop to feel bad about this having so much consequences. While I do not want to see Nico or Angie, I have made my peace with what happened to me back then. Commenter, but why are they attacking you and not the brother? You are not the one objecting to the marriage. Just feels like misogyny and victim blaming tbh. Oop, I guess because he is family, and I'm the outsider who ruined their family. I have been getting so many messages from people who didn't even have my number back then. I'm blocking the best I can, it's just hard to not let these comments get to your heart. Commenter, NTA. They got together so soon after the two of you broke up. I can't help but wonder if your friend was convincing you to break up with Nico because she was hoping to get with him all along. Oop, I honestly don't believe it. They've known each other for years and she broke up with her boyfriend 2 weeks before I broke up with Nico. It was a 5K town, even adding the people our age from near villages. Our school had 500 people attending, hence the options are very limiting. Update, September 15, 2024. First of all, I am immensely thankful for all the people who took the time to not only read through my story, but also comment. I read every single comment and try to respond to as many as possible. It gave me a little bit of hope of compassion for victims of rape and also the courage to not cave to the backlash I received. Mental update. Reading all the messages defending my choices on speaking up made me realize how insecure I was on what I am allowed to do and how much I was trying to make it right to other people besides myself. This especially included Nico and Angie. All of you are right. If Nico had changed, he would have apologized, reached out, or tried to make amends in some way. Either when word got to him from his brother-in-law or at some earlier point in his life. My former best friend Angie should have been able to feel some sort of compassion if she had any respect for me as a human being or the time we spent together. Her reactions showed that I shouldn't hesitate on my actions. I went to therapy from 21 onwards and thought I moved on from the rope as best as I could, but I realized how ashamed I still am almost 10 years later about an incident that wasn't my fault at all. I was ashamed to speak up back then and afraid that people around me would look differently at me. And somehow I still felt bad about speaking up today, so I trying to own what happened to me now and not apologize for other people's behaviors, especially as they don't even show me respect. What happened since then? I archived every nasty message I got on WhatsApp so I wouldn't have to read them, but would have the proof if needed at a later point. Angie's mom called me the following day of the incident, crying. I shouldn't have answered the phone, but during the 10 years of friendship I saw her as an aunt, almost a second mom. She always joked that while her children would run around the house doing whatever, I would always take the time to drink a tea and talk with her, showing her more love and time than her actual children. While she said she's sorry for what has been and for what I went through as a child, she couldn't believe that I would ruin Angie's happiness over something like that. With Angie's brother refusing to have Nico as part of the family and Angie standing by Nico's side, it's divided their family and she is heartbroken. She has grown to love Nico like family as well and has known him for nothing more than a considerate young man who she knows will make her daughter happy. It wasn't nasty names or angry talk. Just a heartbroken mother who faked to acknowledge my pain and saw the fault in me. Angie's mom tried to get me to apologize or to take it back, but I refused as I don't see the fault in me. With everything that has happened, I believe that Nico hasn't changed and is just hiding it better somehow. He can see how people are standing by him and supporting his behavior, so he won't have to change. And that is something I didn't want to indulge. Angie's mom not even one used the word rope, and I tried to correct her every time she talked about it. Trying to name it for her to understand better, but she would just start sobbing more and it didn't make sense for us to continue to talk. Angie's mom used to be in contact with mine for some time, and she reached out to her after our talk. I was afraid that my mom would find out, since she's from a more conservative background. We had a long talk and I didn't get to see her, physically, yet, but she apologized for not being there for me or not making me feel like I can talk to her. I tried to calm her as best as I could, but when she asked me if my current partner knows I was used like that, I got angry. She was scared my partner would leave me if he found out, implying it was something that made me less precious or appealing. When she asked me to keep it a secret from our family abroad and in our country, I hung up. She was acting exactly the way I was afraid she would, as if it's something shameful. It was especially hard as I am trying my best to move away from the feeling of shame. She has since apologized, but it's clear that her view of me has changed. I don't yet know how to deal with it, but that's something to worry about in the next few weeks. As some of you suggested, I wrote Angie's brother, Sven, again and apologized for the mess, but I'm glad that it is out in the open and how proud I am that he's defending his family. I asked if his old email is still working as I would just send a gift card. He didn't respond, but I got a message from his wife 2 days ago. She thanked me for speaking up and informing them about Nico. There were apparently had a few moments that made her uncomfortable, some jokes Nico made, and in retrospective she can see why. Sven apparently informed her the moment he got my initial text, and both of them have since seen Angie but not Nico. She refuses to be in the same room or house as him, and same goes to their unborn daughter. Sven and Angie's mom has been at their place multiple times to beg to forgive Nico, and Sven caved a little. Angie and Nico will get married, Sven will attend but his wife will not. He is allowed in the family but not in contact with either Sven's wife or daughter. Those restrictions are not for Angie. Sven was suffering trying to ease his mother's worries and is not able to take a stand and cut them out completely. This is a compromise they made without his wife's approval, and she told me she's trying her best to cut them out of their life indefinitely. She wanted to move back, closer to her family as well, and thinks this is a perfect opportunity but isn't sure if she can follow through. His wife told me she's terribly sorry for all the issues that came my way and it has been a lot trying to handle the situation on their side. Sven knows it's not my fault, but he doesn't want contact. It's hard for him to talk or see my name because even though he knows I'm not the guilty party, in some way I was the bearer or bad news and he sees me as the start of all this drama. She told me a few times that neither believe I'm the bad guy, they just are tired with everything and it's just been extremely hard on them. That's all that has happened so far. I am frustrated about how everything came to be. It feels like Nico will just continue with his life without having to be remorseful. I didn't want him to suffer, but I think some part of me wanted to at least receive some kind of apology for all the suffering I went through afterwards. I'm having to deal with my mother and her changed shameful view on me, and even though I'm happy it's all out, it's extremely hard to stand by my choices. My partner and my best friends both have been my shoulder to cry on during this ordeal. Especially my best friend was enraged for me, and I am extremely grateful to have both by my side. Right now I'm just emotionally drained, but I'm sure it will be better once a few weeks passes. Next story. Boyfriend's female friend bullied me for years while he did nothing. I finally left him, then she sent me an angry message denying everything and his other friends supported me. I don't know if I'm being wildly unreasonable and jealous over this, so I need some outside opinions. I, 29F, have been with my BF, 30M, for 3 years, and we share an apartment. He has a female friend Nell, 34F, and they were friends for years before I came along. I had no issue with their closeness. I have male friends and knew I'd be a hypocrite to leap to judgments, but at this point I feel I'm justified in thinking the way I do about her. The first time I met her, it was extremely obvious Nell didn't like me. She came into the bar all excited to see my BF, before noticing me. Her entire demeanor changed, she shook my hand and dug her nails into my skin, before ignoring me the rest of the night. She even seemed upset at one point that I took the seat beside my BF, and quietly left halfway through the evening without saying goodbye. So it's safe to say my first impression of her wasn't good, but I tried to reason with myself that not everyone gets along, and I don't need to be friends with my BF's friends. However, as time passed it became really clear Nell's attitude towards me wasn't improving. She had a way of openly mocking me in front of groups of people, making side comments or loudly joking about my voice or appearance. My BF would stand there and say nothing, and after the fact when I asked him about it, he'd say he hadn't noticed. She'd also make a show of hugging him hello and goodbye and not me. She would mix that kind of stuff in with smiles and basic politeness, so it was tough to articulate exactly what she'd done. I felt very much like I was back in high school. From that point on, I basically decided I didn't need to have someone like that in my life, so just stopped going to things she was at. I haven't seen her in about a year. My BF still sees her regularly and they text often. I'm now at the stage where I fully believe they've either dated in the past, or have something going on now. I've tried gently bringing this up, but he denies they ever dated and makes me feel like I'm being jealous and bitter by asking. I end up suppressing those feelings, before something brings them up again. I've reached the end of my tether with it. The final straw for me came the other day, when my BF left his phone open and I saw a text exchange between the two. Nell had sent him a heart emoji, and my BF had written something about how he was thinking of her. I know I should have said something then and there, but I felt numb and decided to go to bed. I'm trying to work out how to handle this. Is it possible nothing's going on here? It's something I've tried arguing in my head, but then something else pops up that makes me doubt it. Maybe friends do just send hearts, and I'm making this up because I don't care for Nell? I don't want that to be the case. I'm basically at a point where I feel he either has to tell me the truth and restrict contact with Nell, or else I don't feel like I can maintain the relationship. I feel constantly disrespected, and I want something to change but don't know how to go about it. Any advice would be so welcomed. Update. First, I'd like to sincerely thank everyone for the kind comments. I didn't expect so many responses and I appreciate them all. I wanted to provide everyone with an update, because a lot has happened. A few days ago, after a lot of tearful soul searching, I decided the best thing for me would be to walk away from the relationship. I sat my BF down and talked to him about it. I explained that I always felt like the third wheel in my own relationship, and that for my own happiness, I didn't want to be in a relationship that made me feel that way anymore. I gave examples to him that I did in my original post, such as his lack of boundaries with Nell, and his disinterest in standing up for me whenever she mocked me. I also said my trust in him had been eroded to the point where I felt unsure of what I really was to him. I told him I still cared about him and wanted him to be happy, but that I wanted to be happy too. My BF sat silently for a while, before asking, "So, you're jealous of Nell?" I felt like he'd barely processed anything I'd just said, and when I tried clarifying, he got defensive and told me he was allowed female friends. I could tell he wanted to turn it into an argument, and since my mind was already made up and I'd said what I wanted, I ended the conversation and he played a computer game and acted like I wasn't there as I packed my things and left. I've been staying with my best friend, who is amazing and always so supportive. We're actually looking into sharing a place officially. I burst into tears on her doorstep and we hugged it out, before having a movie night with a pizza and some wine. It felt really therapeutic, like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. My family have been amazing too, rallying round and taking me out for little meals and stuff. I even got 1 or 2 sweet messages from my BF's friends, saying they were sorry and that they fully understood my point of view, which is interesting. I imagined that would be the end of it, but the next morning I woke up to messages from a number I didn't know. It was Nell. I honestly didn't think she'd contact me, so to see walls and walls of text in my inbox was a shock. Let me run down some of the things she said. She repeatedly insisted that she never bullied me, and said she had no idea where that came from. She said I'd always seemed cold towards her, so tried to make little jokes to break the ice, openly mocking someone is an interesting method, but I digress. Lastly, she told me I was making things up by suggesting she ever had a thing with my ex, they were just friends. She finished with a passive-aggressive apology that I'd ruined my own relationship by being jealous and listening to voices in my head. I didn't respond to her venom or try to get the last word. I know she wanted to repeat her tried and true method of hitting out at me and enjoying my reaction, so I didn't give her one. I've been focusing on other things to start building my self-esteem and happiness back. My ex has not tried to contact me since I left and I'm glad. Frankly, I think him and Nell are perfect for each other. I'm well and truly done with this, and I'm so excited for new things in my life. My friend and I are making arrangements to officially have a place together, and I actually got promoted at work today. I feel like it was a little hug from the universe. In all, things are looking bright. So to end things, I want to thank everyone again for the messages. I think hearing your opinions, as well as getting all my thoughts out in a post are what really opened my eyes and allowed me to leave. I finally feel I'm making myself the priority, feels pretty great.